Dell Technologies and AMD present the Cybersecurity Tapes.
Hi, I'm Steve Keniston.
And I'm Samir Shah. Steve and I are both cybersecurity specialists with Dell, and we're always looking for better ways to tell the cybersecurity story.
Which changes every day, and AI is only accelerating things. It's hard to keep up.
Which is exactly why we started doing the cybersecurity tapes.
It's a totally different approach. These aren't just talking heads or white papers dealing with a single capability, but fictionalized stories designed to humanize these threats and put them into real-life context for you to learn from.
In these stories, we investigate what happened, what went wrong, and the best way to address the challenges.
Samir and I will be back to discuss how this story stacks up against the reality of the modern cybersecurity landscape.
Without further ado, roll the tape.
The incidents portrayed in this episode of the Cybersecurity Tapes are fictitious. No identification with any persons, places, companies, or products is intended or should be inferred.
Unique, New York. Like that?
All right, try this one. Scissors, sizzle, thistles, sizzle.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
You've got to loosen up those vocal cords, Lisa. How about imagine an imaginary menagerie manager managing an imaginary menagerie?
No, maybe you should be the one that goes up there. You wrote the script anyway.
And steal all your glory? I wouldn't dare.
I'm just a stand-in for Oliver. It's his.
You're the CEO of the company. Not exactly an understudy.
I know he's going to be watching today, even though I also know he must be completely knackered. I remember those days. Probably half awake in the nursery with this live stream pulled up, but with the sound off because the baby finally fell asleep.
I gave him a very nice call out in the script. He'll love it, with or without sound.
Have you heard from him? Did they finally land on a name?
We've been in touch a lot leading up to this event, this morning even. Although, to be honest, he seemed a little out of sorts. But yes, they did finally land on a name. You ready for this? They went with Lisa, after you.
Really?
No, it's Charles. Goes by Charlie. Little Charlie. Family name. Oh, speak of the devil, Oliver just texted.
What's up?
You were right. He says he would have called, but Charles finally went down for a nap.
I thought it was Charlie.
It is. I don't know. See? Out of sorts. But he just got some big news. Big news in all caps. ... Now he's typing. Oh, there's the stage manager. Jackie, how's everything looking?
So far, so good. We're 3 minutes out. How about you? You good?
My thistles are sizzling.
Great. Well, the crew's ready to go, but I wanted to make sure you had a chance to chat with Murphy here. You've used a teleprompter before, yeah?
Many times.
Excellent.
Hi, Murphy.
He's got the script loaded up, and I think he just wanted to tie off on a few things before you step out there.
Which script are you using?
Let me see. It's the file called Headwinds Hype Event Keynote Final Version 3_2.
That's the one. Third time's the charm, I guess. _2.
Any update on that big news yet?
Still typing.
Miss Albright, real quick, can you take a look at this screen? I reformatted the script for the teleprompter and had to make some judgment calls for how to break things up. Can you do a super quick rehearsal, just a few lines? Try reading along.
Sure thing. Let's see. Yes, so thrilled. I'm so thrilled to be the lucky person who gets to finally lift the curtain on this little top secret project we've been working on ever since Stewart and Hollis acquired a certain AI startup last spring. Yeah, this feels good. A wealth management mobile app designed for anyone and everyone, not just the wealthy. You're very good at this, Murphy.
Awesome, thanks.
Makes it all come out a lot more naturally.
That was the goal.
Oh, wow.
If it's about the big news, it doesn't sound like it's good news.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't be a product launch without at least one 11th hour fire drill, right? He said there's a new script coming our way and that he really, 3 reallys, hopes it's not too late to sneak it in. He even used a prayer emoji.
He used an emoji?
The show is supposed to start in, well, now. Some might call that too late.
He just texted me 2 download links, one of the new deck and one of the script for the teleprompter. Jackie, can I forward these to you?
I guess it's not too late then.
Hold on. What's the change? I'm in the groove here. Murphy and I had a good thing going just now.
I don't know. All he says is that it's a small detail, but one that will be a big deal to a few heavy hitters in the audience. The removal of some legal asterisk about a pending issue with the patent.
Did you say heavy hitters? Those are my favourite kind of hitters. I don't mind starting a little late, if that's what Oliver thinks is best. He was at the helm of this new project. This is his day, as far as I'm concerned. Murphy, could you load in the new script?
I could, sure, but it'll...
Just bump up the font size so I can read it. What's the worst that could happen?
We're as ready as we're gonna be down here. Everything good in the booth?
Ready to go.
Murphy, you set?
Yep, all set.
Then let's get this show on the road. Cue the lights. All right, Miss Albright, you're on.
Knock him dead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Lisa Albright, and I'm the CEO of Stewart & Hollis Financial Partners. And I'm so thrilled that I get to be the lucky person who gets to finally lift the curtain on this little top secret project we've been working on ever since we acquired a certain AI startup last spring. Today, we're unveiling a product that will redefine personal finance technology as we know it. Please allow me to introduce a wealth management mobile app designed for anyone and everyone, not just the wealthy. But, like I always say, being wealthy doesn't hurt, right?
Is she improvising?
What?
No improvising, Lisa. You're not good at it.
I promise you that's not something I say. Okay, moving on. Thanks to our powerful AI platform, tools and features, once only available to the biggest firms, now fit comfortably in your pocket. It will completely revolutionize the way we view wealth management, and it's all powered by AI. But not just any AI. Stewart & Hollis's patented AI solution was developed specifically for the Headwinds app and what are you murmuring about?
I think you might be showing us the wrong slide.
Oh, you're absolutely right. How did that get in there? Please, I must insist no one takes any photos of that slide. Next slide. What is it now? That's the same slide. Oh, for crying out loud, is every slide this same slide? What is happening? Forget it. Just turn off the projector while we figure out what's going on with the presentation, and I'll tell you all about what sets our patented AI solution apart from the rest.
According to that slide, you don't have a patent.
Has anyone ever seen a more epic fail?
Guess Oliver's watching the live stream. Here we go. Hey, Oliver! Guess you're watching the live stream. Oh, I know, front row seat. Yeah, 0 clue. I was actually about to call you and ask the exact same thing. I think you might have, texted me the wrong files or something. This is a nightmare. The updated files. You texted me like 10 minutes ago. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Definitely from your mobile. Here, I'll send you a screen grab.
Guys in the booth, can we kill the live stream? Please? Thank you. And Murphy, do you mind jumping ahead a little in the script? Perfect. Okay. Bedtime's a charm. By now, it should be obvious. You have been hacked. Is this a prank?
Apologies, everyone. We are, as you may have noticed, experiencing some Technical difficulties. I'm afraid we're going to have to postpone the event until we can sort it out. We apologize for the inconvenience and deeply appreciate your discretion discussing this incident. And to honor our extension of the press blockade indefinitely. There's a perfectly reasonable explanation for all of this. The last thing we want is for any of this to wind up in the news.
Tonight, what was supposed to be a celebration to launch a new highly anticipated mobile banking app turned into a scene of cringeworthy public humiliation for the CEO of Stewart & Hollis. We'll find out what happened and what's next for the finance powerhouse.
Data security is even more important in the era of AI. As the use of digitization, cloud computing, AI, and other emerging technologies fuel the growth of data, the need for advanced security measures becomes even more pressing. The heightened need for security is further amplified by the increased global emphasis on privacy regulations and the severe penalties for breaches, highlighting the unparalleled value of data amid rising security risks. Built in at the silicon level, AMD Infinity Guard offers the advanced capabilities required to defend against international and external threats and help keep your data safe.
None of this makes any sense. I'm looking at the text now on Daria's phone. It's your number. You're saying you didn't send it? Who did? Baby Charles?
All I know is it wasn't me. I would have typed Charlie, for what it's worth.
You know, I noticed that. We just assumed. I don't know, autocorrect, maybe. Sleep deprivation.
I feel like I'm gonna be sick. 2 years of development. Gone.
If we don't do damage control, all of us are going to be gone. I cannot stress how bad this is for the company and for me personally. I look like a bloody fool out there. My career may already be done for.
Colson Bank just pulled out of the contract. That's the third so far.
I don't blame them.
Lisa, I'm so sorry you were the one on stage. I take full responsibility.
Full responsibility for what? We don't know what happened. We can't fight this if we don't know what it is. Has anyone from the office reported a ransom yet? Encrypted data? Anything at all?
No, nothing.
So what? They hacked the teleprompter?
All we know for sure is they somehow hacked your phone. Your personal phone. Daria, let's put in a call to Oliver. What mobile provider do you use?
Zenith Wireless, I think.
Put in a call to Zenith. See if they can't trace the text back to the source. At this point, we have to pursue every lead. Time is of the essence. We should bring in a cybersecurity consultant that I know. She's helped me out of tight spots before. She'll have some insight, or at least get us some answers a lot faster than we can on our own.
Here's what I've found out so far.
That was fast.
Thanks to you. Turns out notifying Zenith Wireless was the right move. Threat actors are increasingly targeting cell carriers for any number of reasons. It can be a weak link in many companies' cybersecurity systems, not just Stewart & Hollis. In this particular instance, it was a man-in-the-middle attack. That's where a hacker intercepts and manipulates critical communications between two people. And unfortunately, very unfortunately, you got caught in the middle.
So, what was the reason in this instance?
That I don't know. How is the first question we need an answer to. We'll get to why later.
Was I targeted specifically?
You had to have been, yes. And that's where I want to work with your IT team to update Stewart & Hollis's detection and response plan. The entry point was indeed a vulnerability in Zenith's network, but there are absolutely things that could have been implemented on your end that may have prevented this from happening. That was your vulnerability.
Consider your contract extended indefinitely until we're ironclad. This can't ever happen again.
Brace yourself, because it probably will. Cyber attacks are almost inevitable. All we can do is strengthen our defenses against them. Make sure our detection, response, and recovery plans are up to date, airtight, and enforced. Company-wide.
So, Samir, what I found very interesting about this particular scenario is right away, the CEO jumped to a man-in-the-middle attack. I'm wondering kind of how she got there.
It's a good question. I don't know if she's had past experience with it, but it would make sense because it sounds like somebody intercepted some transaction of that file with the slides in it. So it makes sense. It fits the profile of a man-in-the-middle attack. And I think one of the important things we need to remember here is that even if we're using encrypted apps, that data is only encrypted when it's sitting on the app. When it's in transit or in flight, it's not encrypted. And so that's where it's particularly vulnerable to an attack of this sort.
Right. But it can be more than just an attack of a cell phone carrier, right?
Definitely. I think Wi-Fi connections come to mind a lot here. And I'll admit, I used to be one of those people that really didn't like when public places password encrypted their Wi-Fi. But as I've learned a lot more and gotten much more involved in cybersecurity, I understand why that's so critical. And it's one extra layer of defense to keep someone from doing exactly what was done here on a public Wi-Fi or any Wi-Fi connection.
Then I thought that it was pretty interesting that Oliver suggested that he was targeted personally, which, I'm sure when an event like this happens, it's a very personal attack. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that, right? I mean, when you think of a crime of opportunity, for example, in a public space like a cafe and you hop on the Wi-Fi, you don't really know who's going to be there, right? And you're hoping to kind of grab whatever you can grab if you're the cyber thief. And I think this is where training comes into play as far as employee training about what to do, what not to do in situations.
I think I see two sides of this. On the one hand, you're right. I think there are cyber criminals that just cast a wide net and go somewhere where they think the good, quote, fish might be and just try to see what they can grab. On the other hand, it's not inconceivable at all that he was targeted. I'm sure he has a LinkedIn profile. People know what he does. Anyone publicly can see what he does. And so they might have thought, hey, he's going to get access to some good proprietary information related to things they're working on. Let me go see if I can figure out what he's up to and get into his data, which quite likely could have happened here.
Yeah, I think you're right. People can be targeted, but then also it makes sense for individuals to practice good cybersecurity hygiene.
Yeah, always. I mean, cybersecurity hygiene is the one fallback that we can always do day in, day out. And, we know that no matter what we do, there could come a time and probably will come a time that we will be the target of an attack. But the question is, how bad is it going to be? And if we're doing all the right things like cyber hygiene, then the likelihood of it being really bad goes down. In this case, didn't turn out very well, but hopefully they were able to mitigate the damage.
I also need you to strengthen my defences. I'm set to do a televised interview about this incident on the nightly news. I don't want to make this worse than it already is. Any tips for talking to the press?
I've navigated my fair share of public disclosures. Here's what you do.
New details have emerged about the recent hack on Stewart & Hollis Financial Partners that led to a disastrous scene last Thursday in an event to promote their new wealth management app. Here to comment is Lisa Albright, CEO of Stewart & Hollis, the person who was very publicly caught in the middle of this mess.
Happy to be here.
Also joining us is Josephine Swartz, Chief Information Officer at Zenith Telecom, the mobile service provider the hackers were able to exploit in order to gain access to private correspondences between Stewart & Hollis employees.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you both for being here. Where to begin? Cyber attacks are obviously more common and more sophisticated than ever, but the stigma remains. I'm sure you will agree, Lisa, that this was an incredibly embarrassing situation, not only for the company, but for yourself personally. So I guess my first question is, why did you agree to come here today?
Embarrassing might be an understatement, humiliation maybe. But I'm doing okay now, in my personal life at least. The short answer to your question is transparency. There's a difference between being a competitor and being an enemy. We didn't want to reset the same trap so the next company would also fall into it. We all share the same common enemy.
We feel the same way. It would have been easy for Lisa and Stewart and Hollis to come at Zenith with an army of lawyers, if for no reason other than to prop us up as a scapegoat in a public forum. Joining forces turned out to be the better strategy.
We considered it. I will admit that. But then you think lawsuits cost money too. Maybe not quite as much as a cyber attack in most situations, but in ours, well, thankfully, most of the damage was reputational. None of our customers got caught in the crossfire. That's a pain that stings a lot more than embarrassment. Going back to what I just said, Zenith isn't the enemy. While we were wasting time in courts, the hackers would still be out there.
Instead, we acted quickly to close the security gap. We have always approached cybersecurity with an abundance of caution, investing more in the privacy of our customers and the resiliency of our organization than any of our competitors. New tools, especially ones powered by AI, are accelerating the opportunities for hackers to exploit. You always have to work harder to keep up.
So, what's next for the app?
We are as proud of the product today as we were during that event. And we are making every effort to keep it alive for the sake of our customers. For whatever reason, the hackers attempted to knock the wind out of our sails, and they did. But the sails themselves are fine. We just need to spend a little time mending and reinforcing the ship and earning back the trust of our customers and partners. That's the mission right now.
Then, once more into the breach?
I think next time we'll go around it.
So, Samir, what I found really nice about the ending of this scenario is that, first of all, the positivity shown by the CEO and the fact that they didn't go down a road of the blame game, as we've talked about before, but they partnered together with where they thought the vulnerability lived, the man-in-the-middle attack, the Zenith Wireless, and they partnered together to try and reinforce, one, the education of the community at large, what to do, what not to do, definitely don't panic. And two, just how to move on, right?
Yeah, I think it's good that they're solution oriented, and it sounds like the impact of the attack to their new product wasn't too serious. But I tend to be a little bit more of a nervous Nelly on this kind of thing, where while I appreciate the positivity, I'd be very concerned about what did happen and the public impact of that, and doing everything possible to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And if there's anything, just going back and looking at their practices and procedures where they can shore up. And it does sound like they're talking about it. So that's encouraging. But definitely, I think the silver lining of all of these incidents is lessons learned and being that much stronger the next time.
Yeah, we've talked ad nauseum about the whole reason behind this entire podcast or audio story is to bring to light the things that can happen, and especially the things that can happen when you work together. And it was really encouraging also to hear the CIO of Zenith talk about how they're going to look at even advancements in cybersecurity, ones that leverage AI and that sort of thing, to actually get better at what they're doing.
Yeah, it's good to see that there's a partnership here. And to your point about not blaming or trying to make one the scapegoat, as they mentioned in the conversation, and they're working together to shore up the security, because I'm sure there's enough fault or reason behind what happened to go around, both on the side of the company as well as on the side of the telecom provider, Zenith. So good to see that they're working together, and it's that type of team sport, as we like to say, that cybersecurity needs to be.
I hope my cell carrier practices these kinds of things as well.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know about you, but I'm always getting security updates on my phone. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
This episode of the Cybersecurity Tapes was produced by Dell Technologies and AMD. The executive producers were Steve Keniston and Samir Shah. It was written by Steve Keniston, Samir Shah, Max Robidoux, Bradley Parrott, and Mike Wiebe. Directed and edited by Bradley Parrott. Featuring performances by Carmel O'Donovan, Natasha Marquez, Alan Cohen, Darren Murphy, Danu Uribe, Angela Gomez, and Mike Wiebe. Sound design by Andy Slater. If you enjoyed this episode of the Cybersecurity Tapes, please like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Or visit thecybersecuritytapes.com to learn more.